Hello everyone, welcome back to Science Free. In this tutorial, you will be learning how to solve quadratic equations by factoring. Let's do an example of how factoring works. Let's factor this equation. To have a more understanding, I'm going to write this equation with just y plus 25 equals 0. We can place this equation in a bracket. To get back a y squared and 25y term, we place y here outside the bracket. Remember the distributive law. Any number or letter that is outside a bracket, we have to multiply that term by everything inside the bracket. Y times y, we get y squared. Because whenever we multiply a number by itself 2 times, we get a squared result. Multiplying y by 25, we get 25y. And outside the bracket to the right, the equation is equal to 0. Let's factor this equation step by step. Whenever we have a quadratic equation with just a 1x squared term, we only need to focus on the last term before the equal sign. In this equation, the last term is 20. Think of two numbers that you could multiply to get 20, and both of those numbers should have the value of the middle term when added together. 4 times 5 gives 20. Here's a question, can you add 5 and 4 to get 9? Yes, indeed, we can, because 5 plus 4 gives 9. But remember, the middle term is a negative 9. For the 9 to become negative, we have to place a minus sign in front of the larger number, which is 5, and minus it from 4. Remember, 2 negative gives positive, which means the sign will change into a plus sign, but because the minus sign is in front of the larger digit to the left, which is 5, the result will become negative. Let's rewrite the x squared term with negative 5x minus 4x plus 20 equals 0. Negative 5x minus 4x is equal to the value of negative 9x. We now write back plus 20 equals 0. We need to now group the terms and factor. We place the terms in brackets by pairs. So we can place a bracket before and after the x squared term as well as the other term which comes after the x squared. We need to now group the next two terms in pairs, also leaving the sign between the two pairs outside of the brackets in the middle. That sign is a negative sign. The term which we would have to use to multiply everything in this first bracket for the result to be the same in the above bracket is x. If we multiply x by x in this first bracket, we get x squared. Multiplying x by negative 5, we get negative 5x. We get a negative 5x, because a positive number times a negative number gives a negative answer. Notice that we place the same sign that was between the above bracket, is placed between this bracket also. That is the minus sign. For the second bracket, we need to place a 4 outside the bracket, to be multiplied by everything inside the bracket. 4 times x gives 4x. 4 times 5 gives 20. We need to focus on the terms outside the bracket. We write x minus 5 in brackets, multiplying by x minus 4 in brackets. And now the last step is to make the equation equal back to 0. We want to make the brackets equal to 0 separately. The last step is to transpose to make x the subject for both equations. For this first equation, we move over the negative 5 behind the number after the equal sign. Because it was a negative 4 on the left-hand side of the equation, when it moves over it will become positive. We do the same for the second equation to find x. We got x equals 4 and x equals 5, which means for this quadratic equation the value of the missing term x can be either 4 or 5. If you are not quite good at transposition, you can watch a video which we covered on that topic. A link will be provided in the description. The reason why quadratic equations are equal 0 is because if we substitute either of the values which we found for x in the equation would equal 0. Substituting 4 in the equation, we know that x is 4, so we replace x with its value 4. We now apply the bottomless rule by first working out the bracket. Negative 9 times 4 gives negative 36. 4 times itself 2 times, or 4 squared, equals 16. Bringing back down the 20 to plus it with the equation. 16 minus 36 equals negative 20. We get negative, because the smaller number is in front. If the bigger number was in front, the answer when we minus would be a positive 1. Negative 20 plus 20 gives 0. If we should go ahead and substitute 5 in the equation, we would still end up with a value of 0. Let's solve this one. We want to focus on what two numbers we could multiply together to get 24. Those two numbers should add together to give back the middle term, which is 11. Those two numbers are 3 and 8. 3 times 8 equals 24. 8 plus 3 equals 11. We need to write back the x squared term plus 3x plus 8x equals 0. Notice if we add 3x plus 8x, we get 11x. We now need to group the terms separately. For the first bracket, we use x for the multiplier, because x times x gives x squared, and x times 3 gives 3x. Similarly, for the second bracket, we have x plus 3 in this bracket and 8 outside, multiplying by everything inside the bracket, because 8 times x gives 8x, and 8 times 3 gives 24. We need to write back the terms outside the brackets, in brackets with each other. Those terms are x plus 8. After placing x plus 8 in brackets, we need to multiply it by x plus 3 in brackets, and make the equation equals back 0. We want to now separate the brackets, and make both equations equal 0 to solve for x. Transposing both equations to find x. We get x equals negative 3, and x equals negative 8. If you remember, when I said from the second working out, that when we only have an x term of 1, we focus on the last term. For this quadratic equation, we have a 2x squared term at the beginning of the equation. We need to multiply the number of the first term by the number for the last term. That's 2 times 20, which equals 40. Now, think of which two numbers we could multiply together to get 40. Those two numbers should also add to give us a 3. So those two numbers would be 8 and 5. By multiplying them, we get 40. Adding them, we get 13. To get back the middle term number, which is negative 3, we need to make 8 negative, and plus it with 5. We get a negative 3 by doing that. We need to now write back the 2x squared term, along with negative 8x, plus 5x minus 20 equals 0. Remember, this negative 8x, plus 5x, would give us this negative 3x. We have to now bring down this negative 20 equals 0. We can now group the terms to factor. We place 2x outside the first bracket, because 2x times x gives 2x squared. And 2x times 4 would give us 8x. For the bracket on the right-hand side, we place a 5 outside the bracket, because 5 times x gives 5x. And 5 times negative 4 gives negative 20. We want to place the multipliers which are outside the bracket in brackets with each other, and multiply by x minus 4 in brackets. So we place 2x plus 5 in brackets times x minus 4 in brackets, and make the equation equal 0. We can separate both equations, making them equal to 0, so we can solve for the value of x. To solve for x, we want to always eliminate added and subtracted terms first, and do multiplication or division last. In this case, we only have an added term, so we just move it over behind the number after the equal sign, and the sign will then change into a negative sign. 2 is being multiplied by x, and the opposite of multiplying is to divide, so we divide the number after the equal sign into it. We can leave our answer in fraction. For the second equation on the right-hand side, we move over the negative 4 from x behind the equal sign, and the 4 becomes positive. So for this quadratic equation, we would get a value of x equal to -5/2, and x equal to +4. Let's try this last one. Multiplying 4 by 6 gives 24. Can we add 4 and 6 to get the middle term? No, we can't. 6 times 4 gives 24, but we can't add 6 and 4 to give us this middle term of -5. 3 times 8 is also equal to 24. If we add 3 and 8 together, we get 11. Also, if we make the 3 negative and add it with 8, we get a +5, but if we make the larger number, which is 8, negative, and add it with 3, we get a -5 as the answer. We want to write back the x squared term along with -8x plus 3. -8x plus 3x equals -5x. We want to bring down -6 equals 0. We want to group 4x squared minus 8x and 3x minus 6 in brackets, multiplying separately by each other, and make the equation equal back 0. We want to now factor out the brackets step by step. Multiplying 4x by x in this first bracket, we get 4x squared. 4x times -2 gives -8x. For this second bracket, multiplying 3 by x, we get 3x. Multiplying 3 by -2, we get -6. We now place the multipliers inside a bracket and multiply them by x minus 2. Writing the equation separately, making the equations equal 0, and solve for x, we get x equals -3/4, and x equals +4. Here are 2 for you guys to try. After finishing, you can send us an email if you're working out through our email, provided in the description. We will give feedback to every comment. In our next video, we will be solving quadratic equations by completing the square. And if you haven't, please remember to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss out on our weekly uploads.